Good evening and welcome to ThaiPBS English News Service. I'm Supajon Klinswan. The Bureau of the Royal Household's 52nd announcement from Sirirat Hospital stated, quoting royal physicians, that last night His Majesty the King experienced intermittent twitching of His Majesty's right hand and his heartbeat was slightly increased. An X-ray found minute subdural bleeding in the left frontal area of His Majesty's brain. After medication was given last night, the seizure disappeared. This morning, doctors reported that His Majesty's right hand movement, heartbeat, and blood pressure were back to normal. And now moving on to politics today. All 8 Constitution Court judges dismissed the petitions which claim the Constitution amendment process contains intentions to overthrow the monarchy. Despite adding that Parliament has full legal authority to amend the Charter, the court suggested a referendum should be called if the government plans to revamp the highest law in the land. The judges cited that the 2007 Constitution passed a public referendum before it became law. Therefore, if the House, with its full authority, wishes to amend the Charter, they should conduct another referendum. The court said there is insufficient evidence to conclude that there are intentions to overthrow the constitutional monarchy and democratic administration. However, conducting a national poll or simply continuing with the amendment process in the House is in the House Speaker's decision. Udomdet Ratnasathian, government whip, said government MPs will work together to interpret the court's decision. Udomdet stated that if the Constitution is amended, it's entirely a referendum may be required. Wirat Kanyasiri, member of the Democrat Party's legal team, suggested that if the government continues to use the Constitution drafting assembly, a public poll is essential. Yet, if senators and MPs are the ones changing the law, a national referendum would not be necessary. Meanwhile, Apisit Wechachiwa, opposition leader, also embraced the court's decision, while saying that the Constitution Court's verdict today shows that the court did not have a motive to dissolve the Pheu Thai party as alleged. Pantep Pongpuapan, spokesperson of the People's Alliance for Democracy, says he respects the court's decision, yet the Yellow Shirt movement will not give up or lose faith, as another court case filed by the PAD and specifying further plans to overthrow the constitutional monarchy and democratic administration is still in the court process. The Constitution Court's verdict prompted much excitement over at the Red Shirts camp. However, Tida Thawan said, president of the United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship, remained disapproving of the Constitution Court's acceptance of the petitions without going through the Attorney General, regarding it as abuse of the legislative power. The UDD president insisted that the government must press ahead with its third reading of the Charter Amendment and establish a Constitution drafting assembly, and disagreed with a public referendum, as it would take at least 90 days, delaying the process. The multicolored group, also against the amendment process, will continue to monitor the Red Shirt movement in case the latter provokes violence. Tun Siti Somwong, core leader of the multicolored group, affirmed that the group will not go on rallies unless Parliament brings back the reconciliation bill. Following the verdict, the Thai stock index rose by 17.16 points, possibly reflecting investors' relief over what could have turned out to be a more serious political confrontation. Still, some business operators said they would remain alert to the political situation and urged the government to focus more on economic challenges than playing politics. Meanwhile, the president of the Thai National Shippers Council believes Thailand can move forward, adding that if Thai politics remain stable, the country's exports could grow 12% this year. Likewise, Thanawat Ponwichai, director of the Center for Economic and Business Forecasting at the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, believes that if there is no more political turmoil, the Thai economy could expand by 5 to 6% in the third quarter as previously targeted. Meanwhile, the ASEAN foreign ministers meeting in Phnom Penh ended today without issuing a joint communique because members failed to reach a consensus on the thorny issue of territorial rights in the South China Sea.
The group's inability to agree on a joint communique is unprecedented. Officials said Cambodia, which is the group's rotating chairman, rejected a compromise on the wording of a joint statement. Cambodian Foreign Minister Ho Nam Hong told reporters that some ASEAN countries sought to include elements of the territorial dispute that had not been on the agenda, and therefore it was not possible to issue a joint communiqué. China has claims on the majority of the sea, which is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes and rich in oil and gas. Taiwan, the Philippines, Vietnam, Brunei and Malaysia also claim parts of it. China maintains that the dispute is a bilateral issue, but countries such as the Philippines and Vietnam want the spat to be dealt with collectively. ASEAN senior officials earlier in the week drafted a code of conduct for the South China Sea that officials say contained, quote, universally accepted practices. But nothing has been finalized or presented to China, which has agreed to consider cooperating with ASEAN in the issue. Critics have accused Cambodia of siding with China in the issue. China gives Cambodia large amounts of aid, but Ho Nam Hong said his country remained neutral. Hugh Adams, ThaiPBS.
Thank you, Hugh. Myanmar, as a gradually opening economy and blessed by location with vast and untapped natural resources, is a potentially inviting investment target for many foreign businesses. While challenges linger, this once outcast nation, starting afresh, has the potential to develop in a very positive direction if they get it right. Here's more from Kun Tawanchai Nakbalang.
The international enthusiasm over the apparent opening up of Myanmar is growing with every step the country takes towards political and economic reform and towards becoming a focus for prospective investors not wanting to allow the opportunity to pass. While there are many untapped business opportunities, how long will it be and what needs to be done before foreign investors can reap the benefits?
They're just beginning of them. So they need more time to prepare about the raw system, about human resource, and prepare about the infrastructure. But they just begin and they just begin from zero. So they can count up, not count down. So I think investment in Burma or Myanmar, they are sunrise for the future.
ThaiPBS Eng.News, economics professor at Chulalongkorn University, noted that the lack of basic infrastructure remains a great concern. The country currently does not have a solid enough financial infrastructure for economic reform, not enough electricity generating capacity for consumption, and not even enough hotel rooms for tourists and visiting businessmen. Perhaps most worryingly though, Myanmar lacks human resources. While developing the infrastructure can be expedited, developing a skilled labor force takes much longer to yield results.
They have a very high quality people, but because of the embargo, because of the economic sanctions, they don't have know-how from the western side of the world. But okay, they have a lot of know-how on oriented side of the world. But hence, we still need some more times for Myanmar people to learn how to work with the Western system.
While the future for Myanmar is potentially very bright, experts remind us the steps the country has taken to date are just the first steps, with a great deal more needing to be done before we really see a new tiger in Asia. Pettiao Chulalongkorn offered IMCU, which stands for Identification, Awareness, Mindset, Competitiveness, and Utilization as a rule of thumb for business people and investors who want to try their luck in Myanmar. The academic also noted that a prosperous development is not solely Myanmar's decision to make. It also depends upon the faith that foreign businesses have in the country and the capital and commitment they are able to bring with them. Tawanchai Nakbalang, ThaiPBS.
Thank you, Kun Tawanchai. And while North America and Europe struggle economically, Asian countries are slowly but surely developing into the world's economic powerhouse. Part of the success behind this rise seems to depend on a stable environment. Now the question is Thailand stable enough? Our Dr. Rungtip Chotnapalai spoke to Professor Michael Usim, who is the Professor of Management and Director of the Center for Leadership and Change Management at the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania.
How do Thailand try to be a benefit from our strategic location as well as the ASEAN economic
Yeah.
community?
You know, I think it feels to me like it's a fantastic location in that the infrastructure, which becomes vital for multinationals investing in the region here, is probably as good in Thailand as any of your neighbors for sure. And so when U.S. and Western European multinationals are looking to create a new manufacturing plant to sell, let's say, automobiles in this region, Thailand, with good infrastructure, good communications, good ports, good road systems, the rule of law. We all have problems with all the above, the U.S. included, but on balance, with a political system and infrastructure that provides predictability, consistency, and support, certainly for manufacturing, Thailand for this region looks like Brazil for South America. Brazil, great location to invest. You make things there, American companies, but then you sell throughout the Latin region. It looks to me like Thailand, it's not the only country where this is happening, but it's certainly one of those in this region where multinationals are looking at whether they can construct and then manage well and lead effectively an enterprise here, and so far it's looking pretty good. I should add, it does take not only infrastructure, but a reasonably predictable political climate as well. And American companies, European companies for that matter, you'll hear them say they need very good power sources, predictable electricity and the like. They also need to know what the rules are that are set by the Parliament or the Congress. And so I think for the future political stability is part of the formulation as well that companies will be looking for.
And Thailand's 3 boxers competing in the London 2012 Summer Olympics departed for England yesterday, but not before the nations displayed its pride and support for the team. To show support for Gao Pongpayun, Chachai Buddhi and Sailom Ardi, a parade was arranged by the Thai Boxing Association to take the 3 boxers to Suvarnabhumi Airport and again to welcome them when they landed in London this morning. The spectacle was a great source of surprise and excitement for the people of both countries. This is the first such an event. The association says that they arranged the parade to encourage and motivate the boxers, even though their numbers are few, and to let them know that there are many Thai people cheering them on. At the airport, the boxers were greeted by their family members. It was a touching moment for all of them, especially for Chachai Buddhi, whose wife is expecting their daughter to be born in August. Sailom Ardi says that he feels inspired by the sport and promises not to let the country down. The boxers will train in Manchester for 15 days until July the 25th. And as heavy rain is likely in some areas of the east and the southwest coast, the Meteorological Department warned of possible flash floods on the lowlands and foothills over the next few days. The Meteorological Department has forecasted scattered to fairly widespread rain over Thailand, with heavy falls in isolated places over Rayong, Chanthaburi and Trat in the east, and Ranong, Phang Trang and Satun along the west coast of southern Thailand. People in the areas where heavy rain is expected should prepare for flooding over the next few days. Provinces along the southeast coast and in the central plains as well as Bangkok should expect a 60% chance of thunder showers, while residents in the north and northeast have a 30 to 40% chance of rain. Over this weekend, the southwest monsoon will weaken. Still, scattered rain and isolated heavy rain are likely over the whole country. So make sure you bring an umbrella and enjoy your pleasant weekend. I'm Superjohn Clinswan saying good night for now. Until Monday, Sawadee Krap.